Hello, Commonwealth Sport Canada community. My name is Aerin England, and I am the social media lead behind the Commonwealth Sport Canada accounts. You are tuning into Champ Chats, the series where we dive a little bit deeper into the lives of athletes and alumni of the Commonwealth Games. Today, we have two very special guests with us who will also be our co-chef de missions for the upcoming Commonwealth Games in Birmingham. The first is Sam Effah. He is an RBC Olympian who is a two-time Canadian champion sprinter and a two-time Commonwealth Games finalist. You may also recognize him from the Amazing Race Canada. Also joining us is Claire Carver-Dias. She is an artistic swimming athlete who is a two-time Commonwealth Games champion and a bronze medalist at the 2000 Olympic Games in Sydney. She also returned to Australia as the chef de mission for the 2018 Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast. Welcome to Champ Chats, Claire and Sam. Thank you both for joining me.
Thanks for having us. Excited.
Pleasure to be here.
I'm so excited for this episode. I can tell already that it's going to be one of my favorites. So we're going to kick things off by saying you both obviously attended the Games as athletes. I would love to hear what your favorite memory is from competing at the Commonwealth Games. And let's start with Sam.
Cool. Yeah, I competed at two games, as you mentioned. I did the 2010 games and then I did the 2018 games, so a bit of a gap there. But my favorite memory, it comes down to, I would say it was the 100-meter final. That was my first international final. And you know, when you're on this stage and you're competing in front of a crowd that's packed, it's the excitement, the feelings that you get, the nerves that you have in your stomach are just, they're moving. It's amazing. But I remember just like walking through the tunnel into the stadium and just being like, you know, my heart is beating and I'm like, oh my gosh, you know, I'm really here. At the time I was a university student. So to go from like, you know, marketing presentations in class to now competing in front of, you know, thousands of people in Delhi, it was such an amazing feeling. And, you know, it was a bit unfortunate. I went in to that race and I think I was ranked number 2 or number 1. And it was unfortunate because I didn't end up putting down the performance that I had set out to do. But ultimately, I think, you know, the fact that I did not compete the way that I needed to actually made me the person who I am today. Like I was so incredibly like hungry after that. And that was my first experience on the stage. So I remember going home after that and being like, you know, I'm going to do like, you know, 100 push-ups at home. I'm going to do all the workouts that I need to. I'm going to talk to my coach. And I knew that next time around I would be ready. But it changed my mentality, you know, not only just like in track, but like outside of track. Commonwealth is bigger than just, you know, going to the games and running well and bringing home all the medals. But it's like you have this ability to impact people. And yeah, that was my first experience on the international stage. And it's just like something I always keep close to my heart because it also keeps me humble. I didn't win, but at the same time, it pushed me.
That's such a great memory. And that moment of stepping in front of the Commonwealth Games audience for the first time is one that comes up for a lot of athletes in these interviews. Now let's jump over to Claire. Claire, what's your favorite memory from the Games?
Well, I'll pick one that's a little less based on the field of play, since Sam gave that example. My Commonwealth experience was at the very end of my career. So it was actually my last multi-sport game, my last major competition before retiring. And I actually delayed retirement so I could go to the Commonwealth Games. And I was really fortunate because Team Canada selected me to have lunch with the Queen at the Games, the Queen of England, Queen Elizabeth II. And what was cool actually was a consolation prize because Daniel, the famous wrestler, got to carry the flag into the opening ceremonies. And my consolation prize for not getting that was going to eat with the Queen. And it happened to be in the middle of my first day of competition where I was swimming my technical program in the morning. And then the medal event, the long program of my solo, was in the afternoon. And so I had to get back to the village, have a very formal dinner, multi-course lunch dinner with the Queen of England, and then head back to the pool for my final event. And she was lovely. The dinner was amazing. And the last thing she said as I was leaving was, "Bless you and good luck with your final." And I remember thinking, I have a royal blessing to go into the final event. and had the swim of my life. So it was that whole unique experience that can only really happen at the Commonwealth Games that I will always remember.
That's a fantastic memory. And I have to ask, did you have to learn how to curtsy?
I did. Yeah. And I did curtsy, and my British immigrant parents have never been prouder than, like, forget the gold medal at the Commonwealth Games. They were like, you curtsied and ate with the Queen. So that made their lives as well.
Amazing. Now, I want to dig a little bit deeper. Claire, I'm sure that the experience between being a chef de mission and an athlete is very different. So I'd love to hear in your own words, what's the role of a chef de mission at the Commonwealth Games?
You're absolutely right. It is a really different role. And it's a really important one, and it's important to know that there is a massive team behind the scenes supporting the athletes. And if they do a really good job, the athletes should really not know that they're there behind the scenes, making things seamless and easy. And the role of the chef de mission is like, first of all, a spokesperson for Team Canada. That's one of the roles. But an encourager, a supporter of that whole broad team. So not just the athletes, but all of that group behind the scenes, so that we can ensure that the athletes have the environment to perform to the best of their abilities at the games. That is our job.
That sounds like a very big, but also very fun job. Now, Sam, you're stepping into the chef role for the first time. What are you looking forward to the most about being a co-chef for the Birmingham Games?
That's a big question. I mean, there's so much. I think first off, working with Claire and being co-chefs, that's number one. Claire, a lot of people don't know this, but she actually was, I would almost even say, a bit of a mentor. She helped me with, my development as an athlete, learning how to speak publicly, and kind of just being more than an athlete. So first off, super excited to work with Claire. She's like in the athlete world, she is royalty. But also I'm super excited on just like being able to be in a position of leadership, as an athlete. Yes, I have done different international games and such, but I haven't done that on the other side. So I'm excited to just like provide leadership, to provide support, really just promote the team. When the good times happen, when the bad times happen, I'm excited to be there and just create a safe environment. And I think it's, going into this through a pandemic is very different, but I think what me and Claire are going to really bring is just that encouragement and really just pushing our athletes. Hey, you're on the track, you're on the field, lay down the best performance you possibly can. We are here to support. So that's really what I'm looking forward to.
That sounds so exciting, and I'm inspired just listening to you describe it. Claire, you spoke to this a little bit already, but you were a chef for the 2018 Commonwealth Games. And I'm wondering if you could give one piece of advice to Sam about the role with your experience, what would it be?
That's a great question. And I'm not just saying this because Sam just layered some praise on me, but one of the things that I'm really excited about this time around, I guess it's coupled in with advice, is that I get to do this with someone. So, and it gets to be Sam, who is a much more recent athlete, has the highest level of energy that you could ever imagine. And it's that piece that if I was giving advice, I'd say, you need to learn how to bring energy to every situation. He knows how to do that. I'm going to be learning from him. And that's the thing. That's the hard thing as a chef de mission. You're trying to support everyone else, but you also need your rest. So it's making sure that you're rested so that you can be there behind the scenes and sometimes in the front of the scenes waving a Canadian flag and absolutely at your best. So that's, using all those tricks we used as an athlete in the moment, I think in the moment of being a chef is really important.
Not to use sport terms, but it really does sound like a marathon, not a sprint.
It's like a sprint, but they keep moving the finish line,
Yes.
Now, the Commonwealth Games is a multi-sport event that's truly unique to any other. Sam, in your opinion, what makes the Commonwealth Games special compared to other international events?
I think what makes the Commonwealth Games special compared to other international events, I mean, there's this different type of camaraderie. Like so a good example is my family background is from Ghana. So my parents immigrated from Ghana in like the 70s or 80s. And whenever I would go to this competition, whether it was in Delhi in 2010 or 2018 when I went to Australia, it was like you connect so well with other people. There's this connection that everybody has. So I loved going there and seeing the other athletes. I loved not only just, cheering Canada on, but also, it's a network of individuals who all have the same goal. To me, that's super exciting. And then I think the next piece, and I'm just diving deeper into this, but the Commonwealth Games is more than just a competition. There are, Canada has their sport work program, so they have a legacy. And my plan is to go there. I want to learn more about this legacy because myself and Claire, yeah, we were athletes, but now we're giving back. And I think it's always key to see, what are the other ways that you can give back? But for the Commonwealth to kind of have this baseline of different programs that are going on that you can kind of like link in and learn and inspire the youth of the next generation, is like, to me, that's super powerful. We're not just running or swimming and trying to get on a podium, but we're actually making a tangible difference. So anyway, that for me is what makes it different. And, as we get to Birmingham, I'm sure we're going to see a lot more exciting social impact projects and of course, cheer the athletes on.
Absolutely. I think you summed that up perfectly. And I think it's only fitting to direct this last question to both of you. I want to know who is a Commonwealth Games alumni who inspires you. And this time we'll start with Claire.
Well, I'm going to use Daniel Agalia, whose name escaped me. I was going to say Aginla. I was mixing him up with the hockey player for a second there. But he, to me, is one of the most incredible athletes I've ever met. And I met him on the Olympic scene, and then we were at the Commonwealth Games together. And there was something about him that was so down to earth. He was so supportive of other athletes, and he was a champion on the mat. And it was this combination of kind of humility and the social willingness to be with other people and to support other people and perform when he needed to that was inspiring to me in 2000 and inspiring to me in 2002. And he continues to do amazing things in his life and career. And so I hold him up as an example.
That's a fantastic choice. And now we'll hand things over to Sam. Sam, who inspires you?
Yeah, anytime I speak after Claire, I'm like, shoot, okay, I got to think of a good answer now. The individual I'm thinking of, he's still in sport, but he did compete in 2018. And I bring him up. His name is Pierce Lepage. He's a decathlete. He is like 6'6". You wouldn't know he's born in 96. Like he's a younger guy, but he's a figure. And he inspires me because, prior to the games, he was an up and coming athlete. He had records, national record, national junior records, all these sort of things. But to come to the Commonwealth Games, put together a performance in your first games, better yet, a decathlete, and come back with a silver medal is huge. And, those are the individuals that I look to promote and to motivate as they take on their next games. For him, if he's going to this one, this would be his second games. But it's like, I just love his energy. And I love the fact that he's just like an inspiring individual. And I think that's what the spirit of the games is. So he's a younger guy. I know he's still in the sport, but I have to choose him because it's somebody that I know personally. And when you know the struggles and the training hardships and everything that person has done to get to where they're at, it's super powerful to see them on the podium because you're like, wow, I've seen the behind the scenes of this person putting in, 6-7 hours a day at training.
Absolutely. Great choice. And you both inspire us. So it's always fun to hear who inspires you. And now we're going to wrap up this interview with a fun segment of this or that. I'm going to alternate giving each of you hypothetical options. Some are sport related and others are just for fun. And you're going to take turns telling me which one you prefer. We'll start with Sam and then the next one will be for Claire. Are you guys ready?
Oh yeah, let's do this.
Okay. Sam, opening ceremonies or closing ceremonies?
Opening for sure, because it's like that's when the games are starting, the excitement begins. Closing's cool too, but there's something about that energy. You're like, okay, it's going down in a couple days. So opening.
Okay, good choice. Claire, would you rather compete in a hot destination or a cold destination?
So easy. Hot. I'm a summer athlete for a reason.
Right?
Always choose the hot destination.
Yeah, It was an easy one. It was an easy one. Sam, do you prefer coffee or tea?
Ooh, that's a tough one. I probably would say maybe coffee. I almost would say none. I'm not like a coffee or tea drinker. Like I've started to get into it because I started work and stuff like that. But I guess I'll say coffee.
Okay. Claire, do you prefer Smarties or M&Ms?
I'm going to go with Smarties. They have a Commonwealth origin as well. My grandmother used to bring them over from the UK when she would come visit us in the summer. And so I have this, like, the British Smarties I like in particular. So good.
Okay, awesome. Sam, would you rather cheer on Team Canada at a destination you've always wanted to travel to, or watch Canadian athletes claim medals on home soil?
Oof, that's tough because I mean, I want to go to a hot destination, I want to go on a beach. But that being said, there's something about when a Canadian is winning a medal and you're like there on the floor. Like it's an amazing feeling to see it live with your own eyes. So that would definitely have to be my go-to.
Awesome. And last but not least, Claire, would you rather compete at a major competition alongside your best friend or beat your toughest competitor?
Why'd you have to ask this question last? Because it's going to make me seem so cold or something. Beat my toughest competitor. Like when you compete in sport for a long time, you build friendships naturally, and that's fantastic. And it is fun to compete with your friends, but you're really there to do your best, and beating your toughest competitor is a part of that.
I think that's a fair answer. It's the inner athlete coming out. All right, Claire and Sam, thank you so much for joining me today. I had so much fun chatting with you, and I'm going to make sure to list your social media so everybody knows where to find you. And we can't wait to see you both on the other side of the pond. Thanks to everybody watching. Tune in next time for a new conversation with another champ.